so that we're visible. You can get used to seeing the vehicle, take down the phone number that's on the vehicle. We'll also have another number that we'll explain in a few minutes. So he's actually a Saline County deputy, but he's working in a security capacity. So what we do is we train in firearms, we train in de-escalation, we train in how to speak to people in a command presence, also how to speak to people in a softer presence, depending on what the situation needs at the time. We do advanced training with some of our guys, which goes into restraint and how to use handcuffs and things of that nature. And we also do a lot of first aid, stop the bleed, tourniquet use. If there's an accident, we'll have a first aid kit, tourniquets and things like that, so they can respond in those manners.
Also, Arkansas State Police lays out a guideline of how many hours over each subject has to be completed before they are licensed and vetted through the state of Arkansas. Every employee we have has been licensed and vetted through the state of Arkansas, and that every requirement the state of Arkansas has to be a security personnel.
And then when it comes to our firearms training and some of our other stuff like stop the bleed and our first aid stuff, we go beyond what the state requires. We actually use what our SWAT team requires for them to qualify with pistol and things like that. So before we're comfortable allowing them to be, in your public with a firearm.
Is this gonna be an 8-hour patrol or 24-hour?
Currently, it's an 8-hour patrol. We are capable of doing multiple people, multiple hours, 24 hours, stuff like that. But right now, it's a cost prohibitive, as you guys are a new city. So.
How many different people will you have patrolling?
We have 4 different personnel right now that are on slate to go there. At first, you'll see the same faces a lot because I want to get people used to your area, because even I don't know your area either. I'm going to come out and run around and learn your area, but I figured I'll work one guy for 7 days and let him know the area, then the next guy can come on and maybe they'll overlap for a moment. And hey, this is where this is this. But altogether, there'll be probably 4 that rotate through there. You won't see a whole lot of different faces.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
You said it was 8 hours, rotating 8 hours. Is that during just the day, or is that day and like split up?
So she's asked if the 8 hours will be rotated or if they're gonna be the consistent. Right now, we're just gonna do day shift for the first week. And that's only so that the guards can actually get familiarized. It's really hard to get familiarized with areas when it's really dark and when you can't see the street names and stuff like that. So for the first week, we're gonna do a day shift where it's gonna be familiarized. We're gonna work I believe it's a 6 to 2. Starting tomorrow, it'll be a 6 to 2. Saturday and Sunday, it'll be a 10 to 6. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we'll go back to a 6 to 2. And then Thursday and Friday, we'll do a 10 to 6. So this way we can get associated with the bus routes. I know next week's kind of a bad week for it because the kids are out of school, but it'll give us an idea to get when the buses are being picking up the kids, when they're dropping off the kids, what is traffic doing while those buses are out there, where we have to be, where's a better place for us to be during this particular 30-minute or 45-minute segment of the day, depending on. Once we get situated with all that, if we don't need to be there during the day, we will rotate the shifts to an evening and nighttime type shift. With that being said, if anybody's going on vacation or knows that they're not going to be home that night, or maybe you own a home in the city and it's a secondary home because it's a lake home or something like that, and you're not going to be home, you're more than welcome to give us a call, give us an address, tell us I'm not going to be home for the next 3 or 4 days. We'll put it in our book. We'll make extra patrols and extra efforts to walk around that house, not just drive by it, but we'll get out and we'll physically walk around the house, check the doors, make sure everything's safe and secure around the house as well. Yes, ma'am.
If there is a disturbance or an emergency on the Hot Spring County side, and everybody knows the number and is gonna call you, how is that gonna be handled?
If you call us, we're going to come over and help you out the best we can. And until we can get other city stuff, but I promise if you call and our patrol is present, they will show up.
They're not gonna leave anybody hanging. Yes,
Do we
ma'am.
have, do we have any idea yet when the vote is gonna be to when we can annex Hot Springs in with our city?
We're gonna talk about that.
Okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am.
So how
are you planning on getting the number out to everybody? Or is that something the city's gonna take responsibility for because,
We will work with the city on doing that. So we have a phone, currently a cell phone, that died yesterday. Of course it did, right? So it died yesterday. It decided it didn't want to check voicemails or anything else. So we have another one that's coming. I'm guessing it'll be here early next week. We expedited it. Once that phone number comes, you'll have a cell phone number that will be for the guard that's on duty at the time. However, when he's not on duty, that phone will go to voicemail. So if it's an incident where you need something right then and it's an emergency, obviously you call 911. If it's something that we can handle the next day, leave a message and we'll check the messages as soon as we come on shift and we'll come and address whatever we might need to address at the time. But once we get that new number, we will either set up a little business card and we put it at the realty office right here on the corner, or we'll get with the city council, maybe we'll put it on Facebook or something along those lines so that the number gets out to you. And we'll keep it in the truck as well, so if you see the truck coming, just flag it down and ask the guard who's on shift. Yes, ma'am.
So if we see something suspicious or feel threatened, will we call you or the police, or both?
Well, it depends on what kind of threat. If you see something suspicious, you can call us. We're gonna be way closer than any law enforcement would be at the time. We can come up there and maybe it's somebody who can't find their cat, but they're walking around without a flashlight and that looks suspicious. Because I would say that looks suspicious. And it's better for us to come out and say, oh, they're a resident, they actually live here, let me help you find your cat, type of thing, as opposed to calling the police and having them come up and it being something that they get frustrated with because they're getting calls for something that's not in their realm.
It's basically deciding on what is a life-threatening emergency. Is someone kicking the door off the hinges? Well, you need to call 911 first, and then call us. We're coming also. But in the end, all we're doing is assisting you until 911 arrives. So if, like you said, if it's an instance like you see a car parked down the road and it just doesn't look right in the middle of the night, yeah, absolutely call us and we'll go check it out before law enforcement have to come all the way out here to check that out.
And how long will it take you to respond?
If we're on shift, we're in the car while it's rolling. So
Okay.
however long
But
it
if you're
takes
not?
us. If we're not on shift, we wouldn't respond. That would be a 911 call, or you would leave a message and we would respond on the next shift.
so how do we know? How are we gonna know that?
So
How
that's
are we gonna
something that
know
we're
when
gonna
you're
have to
on
work
shift?
out with the city council. So
Okay.
here's something that we've kind of gone back and forth with this. Do we post our hours? I don't think it's a good idea, because then you're telling everybody when the hours are that you don't wanna be doing the nefarious things that you might be doing, right? In general, what we would like to do is, like I said, the first week, get our bearings. Then after that, we'll probably go into more of a PM shift, more of a nighttime shift. I would say somewhere between 8 PM start time for 8 hours, sometimes starting at midnight and I don't think it will ever be a fully set schedule. We haven't quite figured out exactly how we would put that out without making it
Understand.
visible to everybody.
Yeah.
Can I ask this? So, is it reasonable to assume then that if they call you and it goes to voicemail, that you're not on shift?
Correct.
And do a 911
If it's emergency,
if it's an
absolutely.
emergency?
Yes.
Otherwise,
The
leave
only-
a message for you and you can get to it the next day.
Correct. The only reason that it may go to voicemail without us while we're on shift is, I don't know Diamond Head very well, but if there's dead spots or something for the cell phone where it doesn't quite pick up, when he gets to an area where it does pick up, he will get the voicemail, he will address it at that time.
What service are you using, AT&T, Verizon, or?
I wanna say it's a T-Mobile service, but if it doesn't, if we find that it doesn't work at all anywhere, we can change it.
Yeah.
But it was Verizon, and that's the one that stopped working, and I think that the company that we use for our what's called Guard Metrics, they provide the phone, because we tend to use it for other properties where we can put up QR codes, which allows the guards to go up and they can scan it, and they go to certain areas, certain hours, and it allows the admin or the city council or whoever to see the breadcrumbs. They were actually there, they're just not saying they were there. So the phones
Something
provide.
you scan, yeah. as you're
Exactly,
going
yeah,
around,
yeah. It's like the old school ones with the magnets that you
Yeah.
see where you had to run the magnet up inside?
Yeah.
Yep, just like that.
And another thing we're really hoping with this PO on this city, we work other places also, and, if you guys can just take the time, if you see our patrol out, stop them, flag them down, and be like, hey, I'm introducing myself, this is who I am, I live over here, you know, and they'll let you know who they are, and we could get more of a community-based policing thing going for you guys. That way, he knows you know, I know where that guy lives, you know, he knows when I'm on shift, he calls me and tells me this, and we can get a lot of information out that way. Even if you don't have anything that important to say, just introduce yourself to the patrol, and if you do know something, you're like, hey, I don't like what's going on over here on this street, I don't understand this, or whatever, and just get the information out there to our guys. That way they can know you and react to what your needs are.
And then one of the other things that we do as a company, that we provide free of charge to anybody who would like to come. It might take us like a month or two to get it set up, but we generally do a stop the bleed class. We are in the process of getting people CPR trainer certified, but we do have stop the bleed trainers. So stop the bleed is how to apply a tourniquet, how to pack a wound, things like that. Things that you might have, you know, something simple as a bad cut in the kitchen or a car accident. Something that's it's a life-saving skill, because you never know when you're gonna nick that wrong artery and it's gonna do something that's, you know, within seconds or a couple minutes, it's too late. So what we try to do is we try to put this class on and we invite you to come and we teach you guys all the different skills on how to stop the bleed and do things like that. Future, we'll put together a CPR instruction as well, which also is very important. Yes, ma'am?
Will you also be Narcan trained?
So we do have people that are Narcan trained, and we actually recently looked into buying packs of Narcan as opposed to the individuals. So that will be something that will be implemented. Only one of our guards that's gonna be working here right now is Narcan trained. The other 2 or 3 will end up being Narcan trained, but it'll take us a couple weeks to get it situated. Other questions?
I'm going to be going on vacation in several weeks, or, a week or two. Ben, what did you say was the process for you to do a house watch? I'm in Garden County.
Okay. You can either call the number that we give you for the cell phone, or we have a big number on the side of our vehicle.
Okay.
When you call the number on the side of the vehicle, it'll call our office. Follow the prompts to Micah or TJ, or security, physical security, any of those will get to us. We can then call you, or you can leave the information, and then we'll make sure the guard gets it if you don't talk to the guard directly. And then they will make sure that during that time frame that you're not home, that we make extra stops at the house.
So how much in advance?
You give us the day before. I mean,
Understand we're not guaranteeing that. If we get on a situation that ties up our entire time, and we don't have time to get over to your house, but if we have a list of your house numbers, that's gonna be what we're doing. When we're not doing another call, your house will be where we would be.
Well, whatever you would do would be appreciated, even if it's just once or twice.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also respond to medical emergencies?
So what we would do for a medical emergency is, yes, we would respond. We would perform the best that the person could based on his training. The best way for us to do with medical training is for us to call 911, and then for us to get to the gate as fast as possible to meet that ambulance, to get him from the gate to the place where there's the actual incident. Because as you come inside, a lot of the times if the ambulance hasn't been here, especially since Pafford is our new carrier, they don't know the county as well as LifeNet did. So if they're not here on a regular basis, and they don't know the area as well, we would provide as much as we can, as much life-saving care as we could. If it's something we needed to stay there for, then we would stay there until the ambulance arrived. If it was something that we could leave, we would go get the ambulance and get them back to that area as quickly as possible.
How many medical equipment do you have linked to your vehicle as far as emergency?
We don't have anything, we've looked into the AEDs,
Right.
but we also have to look at the liability for the AED.
Got it.
And as of right now, we are not carrying AEDs. We carry basic first aid. We will carry tourniquets, Band-Aids, wraps, things like that, compresses, things of that nature.
But each of your
So right now, one of the three are CPR trained, the other ones, but all of them are stop the bleed. CPR training is something that we have, and we're implementing it. We're just in the process of trying to get CPR trainers in our company, so we don't have to spend a ton of money doing it over and over every time we hire new people.
You understand, just same thing as combat lifesaver, right? Basically.
Pretty close, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Army,
30 years.
20.
11,
Well-
and 11. So, we're good.
So what would you do since you can't make arrests, you can't write tickets, but what if you see a speeder?
Okay, so-
Going like 60 miles an hour and 25 miles an hour.
If we see that happening, what we would do is we would figure out the license plate, the make and model of the car, and we would contact the constable for this area, and we would let him know, this person is speeding, this is a regular occurrence, this is happening, we need to do something about it.
It would also be a report we generate that would go to the mayor and the city to say, hey, we've observed this car speeding through the neighborhood so many times. And, you know, we have our overhead lights, I might flip them on and just look at, I'm not gonna chase him down and pull him over, but I let him know that I see what you're doing. And just be like, hey, let's slow down. Of course, his reaction can be whatever his reaction will be, but
If you flash your lights on, he'll know that his name and vehicle is going to be reported to the city. And then the city should send out a notice to that person saying, hey, look, you either need to slow it down or suffer the consequences, whatever the city can do. I don't know what we can do.
Right. Well, our guards, I have been instructed at this point that when that vehicle is not at the real estate office, when it's moving, the overhead lights are on. So it'll be something that will help deter just in general by having it out there. If it becomes something that becomes a nuisance at night when you guys are sleeping, if you're out there at 2 o'clock in the morning and you see the yellow lights through your windows, just let the mayor know or let the city council know, we can turn them off, it's not a problem. We're just doing it to help be a presence. Anybody have anything else? Well, we are looking forward to it, and we definitely are open to change, so if you guys come up with anything, or have any ideas, or want us to address anything specific, feel free to either go to our website, I'll put some cards on the tables, and you guys can reach out to me directly, or you can get a hold of the council, and they can get a hold of us. Thank you.
after this first week's over, about those 8 hours that we work, that would probably be the opinion of the city through the mayor of, hey, we want them here at this time, and we're willing to accommodate on any of those times. It's just this first week, we'd like to get to know the area and get to know the citizens. Daytime's probably the best time for that.
Okay, thanks, guys. Just to follow up on a couple of points there is what can the city do? You know, we don't have law enforcement that can stop them on the spot. And same thing with, say there's an aggressive dog that's loose and not supposed to be. We have ordinances on all that stuff, and there's fines in there for that. And so if there's such an occurrence and they record all the data on it, the city can issue citations. And so that's the sort of thing we would follow up with. And I will say, across different areas, I've sent one citation yesterday, so there is things that we can do. And if nothing else, knowing that is out there will get people maybe pay more attention. Because right now, it's just to be honest, it's the Wild West. That's what we said. So anyway, the other thing I want to mention too is, you know, we're doing what we can right now financially. So yes, we'd like to have more than 8 hours, but that's what we can cover now. When we do get the marshal service in place, there are a lot of grants available to help pay for police personnel. I saw one back some months ago, but we weren't in a position to be able to go there yet. But that was a grant, if you could get it, would pay for half the salary. Well, you know, what the city can put in, if we get those kind of things, then we'll work toward covering broader. But right now, we're offering what we can, and we're working toward more complete capability. So, all right. Any council members have any questions? Okay. All right, so the next, order of business, goes to business, and unfinished business, in terms of the annexation. For a city that's under 1,000 population, state law only allows you to annex 1/10 of your area in a year's time. Well, from what we get from the Arkansas GIS is our population is 941, so we're under that. So we have worked with them to define an area in Hot Spring County that meets that size requirement and incorporate it or annex it first. To also do the annexation, state law requires that you have a annexation ordinance that defines that. We get the legal description from GIS of that new area. We have to define a map. We have to write in what is going to be on the ballot. And all that is in that ordinance. It has to be read 3 times in the city council meeting. And so tonight is the 3rd time. And so what happens is we'll read it, and then we'll have a motion to accept that ordinance, pass that ordinance. And then when it is, then our recorder treasurer will take it and file it with each county clerk, both on the Hot Spring County side and the Garland County side. And the way this will have to work is the vote will be on March 3rd in the primary. And so people who live in that Hot Spring County side will vote for it just on that Hot Spring County side. So that group has to pass it. And then the people on the Garland County side or in the city, they also get to vote on it, and they have to pass it. Both sides have to pass, or it does not go into effect. So we'll be working toward that, but there's lots of different things we have to do to get the information to the election commission and to the county clerks. Right now, we've done all that, we're up to date. The last thing I did was we've been working on the names and addresses in that part to be annexed. And about a week ago, I sent that to the Hot Spring County clerk, and she acknowledged that she had what she needed. And I've also got the same word, because we're already a city, so they already had that in the Garland County side. So, but I talked to Sarah Smith, the county clerk there, and she said, you know, we're good. So there's other steps still to come. There's other things we have to do in a certain time frame, but like right now we're on track. So we should expect to see it in the March 3rd.
And I know those elections you were saying there, the vote, is that a simple majority, or do they have to have?
A simple majority on both each one. So yes, just a majority.
Can you also talk to the ones that's in that certain area in Hot Springs County and say, we can only annex so much, and right now we're looking at your area.
Yeah.
And we count on you to go to the poll and vote for this.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing more of that. I mean, you know, I think, because of the way the city had to be incorporated, I think there was a lot of people on Hot Spring County side that wanna be in it, wanna be part of it. And so we've been putting the map and the legal description on some of the local Facebook pages. We'll be trying to do everything we can to get the information out, let people know when that vote is gonna be, and for them to go to the poll and vote yes. Well, no, that's another thing. When we talked to the election commission, yeah, it will be here. When we talked to the election commission, there's some places to vote for the Garland County side, but not anything really close. And so they felt like with this area in the Hot Spring County side, that it would be better to have a closer polling place for them. So, so they asked if we might be able to provide one here at the church. So I got Gene Haley, who is the chairman of the election commission, in contact with personnel here at the church, and the church already had their vote agreed to have that here. So this will be a new polling place starting in the March 3rd election.
For only the Hot Springs County people?
No, both.
For both.
Both.
Okay.
And matter of fact, the way that'll work is the Hot Spring County people will come in and set up their tables and their things to go through, and the Garland County people will do the same. So when people come in, they'll go to whichever side is for their county. So,
If you got a head count on how many's in Hot Springs County?
not really. There's like 78 residences, and so it depends on how many people is in those houses. There's anywhere from 2 to 3 voting age we believe that if it passes, and we expect it to, then that gets us over that 1,000 mark. And so then the next November, we can arrange the same vote, but to incorporate the whole rest of the Diamond Head thing. So that's our plan.
And another thing, we'd ask each and every one of you to talk to at least 3 of your neighbors and keep them informed on it, keep them interested in it, so we do get the people out there to vote. That's the key thing right now, is keeping the interest up and keeping people involved. And I'm sure every one of you knows somebody that you'd like to talk to or can talk to that would, and appreciate having the interest in it, so.
And let me say too, just so everybody kind of understands, you know, one of the main focuses on getting the city even set up was to bring in more resources to get things done. Because for years, I haven't been here for as many years as most of everybody else, but, you know, everybody here has been paying sales taxes, property taxes, all that kind of stuff. That all goes to Garland County but, yeah, Hot Spring County, but nothing back to us. Because it was a private, association. Then, you know, no road money from the Garland County came in here. I mean, nothing. So by incorporating, then what happens with cities, yeah, they can pass sales taxes and they can pass property taxes and stuff. But, you know, we're not about that. What we're looking for is getting back money that we are paying in taxes. And what the state does is they send what they call turn back money to the cities based on their population. So we get an amount per capita of population. And so, so we've got what we're getting now from the Garland County side, but as we add the Hot Spring County side, we'll have more expenses, obviously, doing things, but we also will receive more money from the state, depending on population. So this is a way to get money that we've all been paying and not getting any return on back into the community. And we're going to talk about the budget here in a minute, and so you can see some of the things we're talking about. So, yeah, we need to read our our ordinance. So I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Patty McCord to do that for us. Don't let the computer read it; it's a little easier.
Also, I was gonna say, we become grant eligible. We weren't grant eligible before, so.
July 21st, 1970, in Book 3, page 82, in the records
Okay, that's a little painful, but,
Can you translate that, please?
And I would mention, if you haven't been here before in the other readings, you know, you're gonna hear streets that are names not familiar to you, and you go, what is that? Well, when it was set up legally and legally recorded, there were certain street names, and some of those have changed over time, but the legal description does not. So it's still in the county records, based on those, other names. So it doesn't really change, though, you think about the boundaries and all. So, anyway, that is the third reading. So now we're in a position to, accept a motion to, pass the subject ordinance.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Julianne?
Second?
Okay. Any questions or discussions? Okay, all those in favor of passing the ordinance, raise your right hand. Okay, unanimous. So, that's done. Okay, so we'll sign that, and then John will take it to the county clerks, and once it's filed with them, we've done our part, and so we'll move on from there. Okay, takes care of that. Now, the next thing then is the budget resolution. So we don't have to read the resolution, but I do want to point out a couple of things. We've got a little bit of a unique situation. We had, earlier in the year, it's been quite some time now, applied for a grant that will allow us to build City Hall and City Marshal office together. And we were supposed to, they said that those, you know, they've got a group, and this is actually comes under the auspices of our governor. So she has a group that will review those, and they'll decide, they've got a certain amount of money, they'll decide how they're gonna put that out to the application. So we might or might not get it. They told us it would be in the fall. We're a little past the fall. I talked to the person that's our main contact on that, trying to remember which, if it was the end of last week or first this week. But anyway, just it hadn't been long ago, and she said, any day. Well, we still have not gotten it. And we need to put a budget in place for January 1. So what I've sent to the council members, and y'all have, for the general fund budget, is basically two. One that says with the grant, because we have to have matching funds for the grant. So we have saved out enough to meet our matching funds part. And then there's another one that's without the grant. So if we pass this, if we then find that we don't have that grant, then we can do other things. Now, changed minimally, but a lot of that money we would just carry over and look for the next opportunity. But still, they are a little different. And the way the resolution reads, if I can find it. Yeah, thank you. Okay, the resolution is not as, you know, ordinance is law, but a resolution describes how we're going to function and what's the city council wants to do. And so it's written where it addresses the attached 2026 budget documents reflect the estimated revenues and expenditures, and that things, estimates are subject to change during the budgetary year. So basically, there's enough openness in the resolution that we can attach both these budgets to it, and then when we find out about the grant, we'll just pick the one that we're going with and can proceed. And so that's the plan. Any be open for any motion to accept this resolution 2025-23.
Move to accept.
Okay.
Motion is, second?
Okay. Now, here's a good point then, is as we get into discussion, I don't want to have to read all of it, but let me just hit some of the high points. And this is the first general fund budget. So, we're looking at carrying over a funding balance, and I've been working with John on this, about what we expect to have left at the end of December, going into the 1st of January, because this is for January 1 to December 31st, 2026. So we'll be looking at carrying over 177,000. And based on current, I went back and took the last 5 months, because we only started getting funds at the end of April. That's another story, but anyway, we started getting them then. And so I averaged what we've been getting each month, because it varies depending on taxes collected and such. But what we'd be looking at in terms of revenue would be $333,600 as we currently are. Then I looked at what we kind of expect, estimate anyway, per capita from the Hot Spring County side. It's also, since the election's in March and such, it's not the full year. So I made an estimate there of $16,500 that we'd get from that. Then we have a building permit fee, which is just an estimate, $5,200, just estimating how many permits there may be through the year for new homes. And then the expenses, a lot of our public safety is the contract for the security. We'll be looking at some city marshal payroll that won't come till later in the year, but enough there to cover from when we do actually hire a marshal, get that in place to the end of the year then. We have to have funding for the police car and outfitting it, some supplies, some equipment, and then a miscellaneous amount. So all that added up to $213,000. Then we have the building inspections. We have to publish our ordinances in the papers. That's actually fairly expensive. Then we have office supplies. We also have office areas that we have to, we're maintaining our website. We have computer, internet, business software, our office software and phone subscriptions. So that comes up to a certain amount. We had passed 2 tasks for zoning, and so that will be that's been passed, and we've signed the agreement with the company engineering firm that's doing that, and so we'll be seeing that starting and really expect to be finished with that in January and February. And so we've got funding for that. Then here's where we have the cash matching grant. And so since we have land already, we can put that to it. It leaves another $175,000 that would be our matching part. Then we're budgeting a certain amount for community events. As a matter of fact, I should say, to the city council, we received a thank you card from the Diamond Head Social Committee, because for the fall festival, since it's a public event, we were able to help with some of the cost of that and supporting that for the community. So we've got $10,000 there for community events this year. We have office rent. We have our admin and bookkeeper who's keeping the office in quite good order for us. And then we have legal expenses. We have city attorney. We have municipal league membership. We'll have to go back to the Census Bureau, and they charge us for that to get a new population once we annex the other part. So there's just expenses we have to go through there. And so that leaves us on the back. We've got expenses, therefore, we have some, and it depends on how things go as to how much it would be, but we've allocated some for cleanup of roadways, brush, mowing, and such. We have CPA support that we're required to have because we'll have audits for the state. And so anyway, out of all that leaves us a surplus of $13,850, which is not much when you look at everything overall. So, yes?
This one is the one
If we do get the grant.
but the grant's not in here.
No, yes. It was the $175,000.
That's what we have to do match.
That's our match? Yeah, yes.
Not what
Well,
we receive.
if we get it, it's a separate fund, and so it would have a separate budget.
Okay.
We would.
But that would be how much?
It was $756,000 or something we requested.
Right.
So the total was nearly $900,000 with our matching part.
So if we get that,
if we get that, this is our general operating budget, but what we would do would be set up a specific fund and a separate budget for that, yes.
So that would also be income.
Yes, it would, yes, just be a separate, yeah. Okay, and so then the next one is basically all those same things with a little bit of a tweaking, not much, since we would have a little more money. But it ends up with a surplus of almost $170,000 if we're not having to spend that much. You know, but we don't necessarily have to go out and spend that right away. It gives us some options though. And, but there's things you get grants for, but you have to have matching funds. So it'd be good to have that already in hand, when we, go after some of those grants. So, that's that. Now, there's also a street fund. There's two budgets we get from the state. One is the general fund budget, which I just went through. The other is the street fund. The street fund can only be spent on the roads. And, well, it can be made for sidewalks and things like that, but it's related to that.
And trails.
That's true. You can also do, walking trails and such, so those are, so, right now, it's not as much, but, what we have, acquired so far this year and expect to carry over is $54,000. And what we expect to get, this next year from the road fund is $82,000. And so I've actually got here, looking at two traffic count, those things that you put across the road where it counts you when you go across. Because I think if we ever get to really looking at the roads, we can look and see where where most traffic is, but it'd be nice to have the data and understand, there's more traffic here, we need to take care of that maybe. So anyway, but it leaves us at the end of the year, $135,000. And so right now, most everybody's aware, we get this money, but we cannot spend it with the gates up. Because public money, tax money, cannot be spent in a private entity. And so until we can make an arrangement or get an agreement with the POA, we just have to bank it. And so we're working toward that. But it's there.
So our beginning balance here at the top, 54,000, we haven't spent any of that money at all on
No.
roads, so that's.
We started getting money at the end of April, and so it's just been banking it. And until something gets worked out legally this year, it'll just continue to get banked.
All right, this date right here where it says total revenue 2016, that's just probably a misprint, right?
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Martin. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make sense.
I didn't even see it.
People will tell you that know me, I'm picky. I see a lot of the little
Me
things.
too. I saw it, I marked it.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Thank you. All right, so, any other questions on the budget entries, guys? Council members? Okay, if not, I would, accept a motion approving the resolution which approves our budget and can start us operating January 1. For past the resolution? Well, it doesn't specify in the resolution, it just says the attached 2026 budget documents, so I think it's inclusive. Oh, you did a separate one, okay, well, we can do a separate one then. Right now then, it's just for the general, yep. Okay? So, a motion?
Motion to accept resolution.
Oh, wait a minute, we did that already, we're in discussion, I'm sorry.
No, we
Did we done, oh, this one? Okay. Okay.
It's number 23.
Yeah, okay, all right, so, Julian seconded to initiate? Leon did, okay. So, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the general fund budget approval, raise your hand. Okay, unanimous, very good. Okay, so I did not see the street fund. Okay, it's specific to the street fund. So again, a motion for resolution 2025-24.
Move to approve?
Second.
Okay, Patty, Melanie, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of passing this resolution, raise your right hand. Okay, unanimous. All right, got that. So we're ready to roll for our next budget then. So, okay, a few things I was just going to kind of mention and report on. I think I did last time too. You know, we're coming to better agreement with some of the builders and people building homes out here. First, they weren't aware of the requirements for ordinance. We sent letters to make them aware, but then some were not being very active in doing what was required to get the permit and get inspections going. But we've had a lot of conversations there, written other letters, and so that's gotten much better. And so we have a process there, and working with people that now are working with us to get that done. We've only got one or two that we're still having to press, and so some of those we are getting letters from our city attorney, and anyway, we're working it. So, also I mentioned earlier that Crafton Toll is the engineering firm that we've have been working on zoning, and so first of all, they have to, and this is all state required, they have to develop a street plan, but we've already got the streets, so that'll be pretty easy, but they'll have to do that. Then there's a land use plan, and then the zoning ordinance, which will have the maps and zoning for the different areas. There'll be public hearings on that here. And so as that progresses in January and February, we'll be sending notices for that, where you can come and see what the planning is and make input into that. What we're really interested in zoning, we're not wanting to, change anything, but we're wanting to be sure that we have a means of maintaining what we have and what we want, and the city has that ability. So that's why we'll be doing this, and should have that in the next 2 or 3 months. There, as most people know, the POA as it is, and Omni filed suit against the city, saying that we were not incorporated properly, that we were doing things that's not, we're not authorized to do. And I won't speak to any of that. I'll just say that the municipal league, which we're a member of, has assigned an attorney to us. And so when these lawsuits happen, both sides have to file motions with the judge. And we've done that. And so now we're just waiting on the judge to either set a hearing date or act on those motions. So it's just a wait game right now, as most. I've never been involved in this legal stuff before, but man, I'm finding out it's slower than molasses. It just takes forever. So we're just biding our time. We're not worried about it. We're just moving on. I think I already mentioned, annexation. We've continued to have those discussions with the election commission and both Hot Springs and Garland County clerks. They've been very helpful. Everything is rolling along in place, so I don't see any issues with that right now. So that's all I have. So,
You can vote anywhere in the county.
well, that's true. Yeah, and they're going to they'll have early voting too. So anyway, so yeah, you can vote anywhere in counties. It's just that for the actual voting day, they're setting up to have this as another polling place so that it's handier for the Hot Spring County side people, particularly.
It will be a continual.
Yes, this is not just this one time. They want to provide this ability down the road for the Hot Springs County people, particularly here. Good for the Garland, we don't have as far to go otherwise, but anyway, it'll be here, so they see that as that this was going to be a benefit to everybody that lives out here. So the first one will be March, but all the other major elections will continue to be able to come here to vote.
We have somebody to open and somebody to close.
Yay.
Good deal. Okay, so So that's all I have, so any other, council members have anything you want to bring up?
You have on here at the first point where RDOT instructed us to postpone.
I missed that, didn't I? I'm sorry, I did skip last that. Okay, here's the thing, I mean, y'all heard me talk about this, probably before, but last January, because when we were just getting started, we went and, met with the city of North, who was one of the last ones to incorporate before us. And one of the things they told us, and we heard from others then after that, was that there is a street fund grant that cities are eligible for, and so you apply for that and can get that for paving. And so I submitted a proposal for that. Trouble is, just like I mentioned a while ago about our regular street fund, you cannot get that or spend it until, it can be declared a public roadway. We don't have to own it, just be declared a public roadway. And they said that since we were a new city, had not gotten any of those kinds of funds before and everything, we should rise to the top of the list. And so I've had several meetings with them, RDOT people, maybe out here, we drove around and looked at some of the roads and everything. And but as we were getting close, because they select in December, it's kind of crazy, they take the applications starting in January, but they don't get together and select from those until December. They have a meeting in the middle of the summer to look and see what applications we've got and start looking at those, but then they don't make the final decisions until December. Well, in November, it's getting close enough, it's clear to me, we hope to be able to, in the meantime, work that out where we can get it, because it's $400,000 of paving. And, which sounds like a lot, but it only do about a mile and a half, a little more. So that's right. And so we have a plan of how to attack that. But, anyway, I called and talked to the fellow that, is our main contact on that, and said, look, I don't want to have to get to the meeting and then get into this. I said, we just need to withdraw, and we'll reapply later, and we'll continue to work the problem we've got there. And his response to that was he would pass that along, but he urged us not to withdraw, hoping that we can continue to work that and get an arrangement where we can do it then. And so as soon as we can, just let him know. So I view that as another positive thing, that they didn't want us to withdraw, they just want us to postpone and let them know. So, yeah, so that's why I wanted to mention that. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I would accept a motion for adjournment.
We have a question.
Yeah.
That building that's on Independence across from the pavilion, any word on that construction? Or is there anything you can do to contact the builder?
The house.
Well, we've been trying to contact the builder. You talking about the one that's just framed up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's framed
yeah.
up and it's been that way.
Same thing, we have sent them letters, and part of this is just what I heard, it may be hearsay, I don't know, but I understand that since that started, there may be a divorce involved. And so I've tried to look up the addresses. I got one address off of their SSWPPP that's in the box. I got another off of their land, not like Ag Data Scout, but I have another thing that looks it up. Anyway, I've sent both letters, both of those they've gotten returned. May have to go down to the courthouse to find, but I haven't been able to find the person to get the letter to, for them to explain what they have to do. But if you notice, there's already a stop work order posted on the framework from the SWPPP, because they've already in non-compliance. So they have a stop work order from them already. So anyway, I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, but we are trying to work it. Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. I have one question. On this building inspection fund, what does that do?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have looked at the different inspections, the foundation and the framing and the electrical and HVAC, and then a final inspection. And so we have a licensed building inspector that's doing that for us, and so there's a certain fee for those inspections. So we're just collecting enough money to pay for the fees.
Okay.
And so it's when somebody comes in and they're gonna start a new construction. Now, part of the problem is some of these were already started. And so some of them, we had to work with them individually, depending on how far along they were, we might not could have inspected the foundation, but we could start with the framing or something. So anyway, so we set the fee with just what we could inspect. But now with new ones, we should be able to inspect all of it. So they have to have a permit that shows that they met the different requirements. They've got the SWPPP, they've got their 911 address set. There's several different things that shows that they're ready to go, and we can issue them a permit. Then we follow with them, with our inspector to do the inspections along the way. So we're just making an estimate, but if you look on the budget, it shows the cost for the inspections is the same as our estimate
Yeah.
of what's coming in.
I'm basically, I know the past year or so, the contractor was the inspector.
Well,
You know,
I don't count
that's-
that. Yeah, and I'll just, I mean, a lot of times it's nothing major, but again, there's certain things to meet code, and we've got a licensed inspector, and so I'd say probably half the inspections have failed, and they have to make a correction, and then do re-inspects and go on. So that's being sure that we've got the integrity in the construction.
Okay, so the contractor basically out of the inspection business?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he can do what he wants to, but we're gonna
He
do.
is a conformance of the city, I would go, but basically it's what it boils down to.
Yeah, but we're gonna do ours, to be sure that we've got independent eyes on it. Yeah. Okay, I would, accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, raise your hand. All right, we are adjourned.